Okay, it is 6 o'clock, and I'll call this January 5th, 2016 meeting to order and ask you to stand and join Councilman Griffin as she leads us in the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear God, as we start a new year, remind us of all we have to be proud of in America. Our city and our people, all who work hard to make our town a better place. Please grant us wisdom as we make decisions for our people. Father, help us to embrace our responsibilities as mayor and city council. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, pledge, salute pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone joining us for our first council meeting in the year 2016. Remind everyone that we meet on the first and third Tuesdays of each month, with the workshop starting at 5 o'clock upstairs on the third floor, and the regular session starting here in the council chambers at 6 o'clock. Council members, you have before you the minutes of our meeting held on December the 15th, with one correction. We had Mr. Christensen, our city attorney, was not present, and they've got it listed here that he was, so we've marked that correct. With that correction, would you approve the minutes as presented?
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the December the 15th meeting as amended.
All right, sir. Have a motion by Mr. Mount. Any a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Wells. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand, and I thank you for that. No unfinished business. Under new business, I have a proclamation here that I want to present to the coach of the Andalusia High School Bulldog football team, Coach Taylor. And I know he had some players that hopefully were lined up to come with him tonight, but they're all either playing basketball or in some other sport or in training. So he's here tonight to accept this proclamation on behalf of the team. And I'm going to come down here, Coach, and read it. If you will, just join me down here. City of Andalusia, proclamation of congratulations. Whereas the City of Andalusia proudly congratulates the 2015 Andalusia High School football team, its coaches and staff, on being the 2015 State of Alabama 4A Region 2 champions and being the first Andalusia Bulldog team to play beyond the first round of the state playoffs since the year 2007, reaching the quarterfinals. And whereas in the 2015 Andalusia High School football team has demonstrated strong discipline, sportsmanship, and lofty values, and whereas the Andalusia High School football team has shown tremendous dedication, enthusiasm, and teamwork throughout their successful 2015 season and brought honor to the City of Andalusia, now therefore, by the power vested in me as mayor of the City of Andalusia, and on behalf of the entire City Council and the citizens of Andalusia, I do hereby congratulate the members, coaches, and staff of the 2015 Andalusia High School football team for their success and wish them the best in future seasons. Witness my hand the 5th day of January 2016. Congratulations, Coach. I told the coach earlier that everyone's happier when we have a successful football season. So we had a great 2015 and look forward to similar results in 16. Okay, item 6B was to consider, for further consideration, a city ordinance relating to the downtown parking lot ordinance. Since, as I stated at our December 15 meeting, this was the beginning of a discussion of a problem that we have on our square. The ordinance is one way of dealing with that, but there are other ways. In addition, there are other ways of dealing with the problems that we have down there. First, let me say that we are proud of our city square, and the parking areas in the downtown area have been upgraded significantly. A lot of money, a lot of tax money has been spent on those facilities to upgrade them and to make downtown Andalusia one of the most beautiful cities in the state. It takes a lot of maintenance and upkeep under the best circumstances to maintain those parking areas to be clean, the sidewalks to be clean, and maintained in a proper manner, one that would make us proud of the city at all times. We have had a problem with people coming and quite frankly misusing that area. Let me start off by saying this. It is the vast majority of people who come and use our square area for parking and gathering conduct themselves properly. They don't litter. They take care of not making a mess up there, and that's fine, because that's what we want our folks to do. And not all these. Someone's got the idea that all these people are young high schoolers, and that's not the case. We have people of all ages that assemble there on the square, and it's just sort of a gathering place, which is fine as well. The problem we have with those people who do not respect the property, do not respect the maintenance of the property, and litter, quite frankly, do a lot of things on the site there that are inappropriate. And this ordinance that we talked about back at our last meeting in December is just one way of dealing with that issue. There are other ways as well, and as I stated at that time, this was the beginning of that conversation of trying to come up with a remedy to put an end to, or at least diminish as best we can, the abuse that we were seeing on the use of the square up there. Since our last meeting in December, I've talked to quite a few citizens. I've talked amongst the council members. I've talked to the chief of police again about the circumstances down there, and I've talked to the city attorney, I've talked to city clerk, I've talked to private citizens, and there's some other avenues that we think might be more successful in addressing the problem than passing another ordinance of the nature that was presented in December. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend a little more time studying this problem and see if we can put together something that's not quite as heavy-handed and is or appear to be heavy-handed by some people. But let me say this: we've spent a lot of money improving our city over the last 20 years. The taxpayers of Andalusia deserve for this property to be maintained, and we're going to maintain it. And we're going to figure out a way to do it. It's going to be fair. It's going to be even-handed, but we're going to take care of this property. And those people who abuse it are going to have to pay the price for it if they do it, and we're able to catch them doing it. And we're going to make it our business to catch them when they do it. So we're going to continue to study this, again, to be as fair as we can be with it, and to be even-handed with it, and not overplay our hand. So we will take this up again probably at our next meeting later this month, or we may pass it and take it up at a later time. But in any event, we will put together a plan to present to you members of the council to study and review, and we'll publish that plan with our local newspaper so the public can have a chance to review it and have input if they choose to do so. But we are going to address this problem, and we're going to do it in a fair way, and one that is even-handed and one that can address the problem without the least amount of government intrusion, I guess is one way to put it. But the property that we're talking about is owned by the citizens of Andalusia. It's not owned by me. It's not owned by any single individual. It's owned by the citizens of Andalusia, and they expect us to maintain it. and so we're going to do that. So we will not be taking up this ordinance tonight to review. Our next item is item 6C, is a 2016 resurfacing project. We have been talking about a resurfacing project on some of our streets here in town now for several months, and we asked our department head with the Public Works Department to put together a list of streets that were in the most need of service. And he has done that, and there are 8 of those streets on this list, and an approximate cost for the work that needs to be done on those streets. And I'm going to read that list, and then we'll have something else to say about that as well, and then ask you if you want to take action on this tonight. The first street is South Cotton Street from Fagan Avenue to Watley. The approximate cost, or the projected cost of that project, would be $152,000. The next is South Cotton Street from West Watson Street to the railroad tracks. The projected cost of that is $20,000. The third street is Elm Street from the bypass to East Pass Road. The projected cost on that is $10,000. Street 4 is Through Street at Adams Avenue, and it would be an overlay of some potholes. It's just one area there on that street that's in bad condition, so it's not resurfacing the entire street. Would be the overlay of the pothole area so that that can be cleaned up, and the projected cost on that is $5,000. The 5th Street is Hillcrest Drive at Snowden, and that will again be a small overlay of that intersection right there, which has a lot of potholes. It has a lot of traffic up and down there from around the bank, and also coming from the county facility back into town. But that intersection there with Hillcrest and Snowden is where the potholes are, and that can be taken care of, we think, for about $5,000 overlay. Street 6 would be Packer Avenue from Madison Street to Thweet Street, and the projected cost of that would be $23,000. 7th Street would be Old Antioch Road from the bypass to Sutton Road. The projected cost on that would be $45,500. And then the 8th Street is Hillcrest Drive from the bypass to the county yard, in this instance with the city furnishing the material, but the county actually applying the material to that street. And the projected cost of that would be $30,000. The total amount of this is some $290,000. And we are going to add some alternatives to this bid list, probably 2 or 3, and see how those bids come in. And it may be that we want to add a little more depending on what kind of bids we get. If we get great bids, then we may do the alternative streets. They will be handled in the same way. We will ask our department head, the Public Works, who's the man that works on these streets every day, all day, and knows the ones that need the most work, takes the politics out of it, and actually addresses the true needs. So with that in mind, members of the council, I would ask you to approve us going out for bids on these 8 streets, and then adding 2 or 3 additional streets as alternates to the bid, and then we will take a look at the alternates when they come in and make a decision on whether to include those in our project. We have about $300,000, $310,000, something like that, in our gasoline tax funds that can be used only for transportation issues. So we've got about $300,000 that would come straight out of that fund, but we may want to take some money out of the capital fund, if we want to do the alternates, provided that we get a bid that we think is a good bid. So I recommend to you that we move forward on this.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve this 2016 resurfacing project, but as to include the 8 listed, but also to include the 2 or 3 that we will possibly suggest later on, and also to make sure this first part of it comes out of the funds for paving, and then additional we will consider as it's presented.
Thank you, sir. Heard the motion from Mr. Wells. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Have a second from Ms. Griffin. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. And that carries, and we'll get to work on that, and hopefully we'll have us a resurfacing project here in the early spring. We have an abatement issue to assign abatement cost on 3 parcels of property. You have those listed there on your resolution. One is for $55.08, one for $52.68, and one for $70.68. This is properties that already were found to be in need of abatement, most probably due to grass and weeds. And this is the cost that, for the city to get that work done. If the property owner doesn't pay this, this will be assigned to their ad valorem tax bill, and they have to pay it when they pay their ad valorem tax, and then the county will pay that back to us. So we recover it in the long run. But I recommend to you that we adopt resolution number 2016-01.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion 2016-01, the cost of the 3 abatements that have been presented.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Griffin. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Mr. Mount. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. And that carries, and I thank you. The next item of business is to consider resolution 2016-02, which is for a TAP sidewalk application. As I understand, after discussions with the City Council, it's not the will of the desire of the City Council to move forward with this new application. We have 2 sidewalk projects that have already been approved and funded. One will start next month on the west side of town, and then perhaps later in the year or the first part of next year, we'll do the second one, which is down Stanley Avenue and part of the way down Lindsay Bridge Road. So what we've decided to do is to not pursue another TAP sidewalk project in the year 16, but to consider that at a later time next year if we desire to do so. Is that everyone's sense of what we want to do? So we'll just pass that. We have before you a lease agreement. This is an agreement for one of our properties, buildings out at our industrial park. It's with actually the Industrial Development Board has already approved this lease, and it's as I said, it's at the industrial park, which is controlled by the Industrial Board. The lessee is Strong Steel of Alabama, LLC. And they will be leasing the newest spec building that we have out there, a 5-year lease. Lease payments are approximately something a little over $6,000 a month. And they have already paid us $25,000 prepay on the lease payments. This is a 5-year lease. It automatically renews under certain circumstances. There's quite a bit. It's about a, 20-page lease. But it provides that the tenant will invest $1 million in the first year of their operations. That is, put in $1 million worth of improvements out there, including equipment, in the first year, and $1.25 million in the second year. So they, in addition to paying us over $6,000 a month, they will be investing at least $2.25 million in equipment and so forth. Also provides that they will hire at least 30 employees with an average wage of $15 to $20 per hour. So these will be good jobs, and I think they're already advertising for that and seeking those folks out. These people build building components for for buildings, for structures that are designed to withstand high winds. For example, down in the Florida area, 200-mile-an-hour winds is what they're designed to withstand. They're also designed to withstand some earthquake activity, and I think they've got some contracts with some people over in Africa to build some for that part of the world. But the majority of what they will be doing here is building components for buildings in Florida and the Gulf Coast area to stand up to hurricane type winds. So even though it's been approved by the Industrial Development Board under the statute, the City of Andalusia City Council must also approve it. So I recommend to you that you approve this lease.
Mr. Mayor, I gladly make a motion that we would improve this lease agreement to Strong Steel.
All right, sir. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Have a second from Ms. Griffin. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. And that carries. And I thank you for that. That is all the business we have on the agenda. Does any council member have anything to bring before the council?
No, sir. I do.
Okay. All right. We will stand adjourned.